I was 20, I was naive, and I failed to recognize some really bad life advices from people. Hope you don't make the same mistake. Hey everyone, this is Rahul Adhikari and welcome back to my YouTube channel. The right advice from someone at the right time can be life-changing, there's no doubt about that. But at the same time, taking advice from people is also super tricky and can put you in a really bad situation. I've had some terrible experiences in the past while taking advice from people, even from the ones that I trusted and the ones that were experienced. But after reflecting upon those experiences, I have identified some blind spots that all of us have while taking advice. And I wanted to share them with you so that you don't make a huge mistake the next time you take advice.
Oh, Leonard, huge mistake.
Before we start, let me share some stats about the gravity of this problem. More than 88% of people say that they seek life advice from people around them. So that's a majority of people. But more than 50% of them agree to have got really bad pieces of advice sometime in their life. Now chances are you too would have got some terrible advice in the past. So right before we start, please let us all know in the comments below what is the worst piece of advice you have ever got. But remember, it should be something that makes us all go like this.
Man, that's some bad advice.
Okay, so now let's begin with the top blind spots. Number 1. People may be giving you a very general advice too quickly that's not applicable to you. Advice is a highly customized thing. It's unique for each and every person. But a lot of times, people don't care about that.
But you don't care about those, do you?
After college, I was thinking about whether to go to a business school or not. And after talking to one of my trusted seniors, somehow in just 2 minutes, he told me super confidently, "Yeah, I think your grades are good, you have a diverse extracurricular experience, and I think you'll be a good fit. Yeah, I think you should go." Another senior told me, "I strongly feel you should wait for 2 years and get some job experience first and then go for an MBA, because many people do that." I left the conversation very confused and gave it a deep thought over the next couple of weeks. It was then when I realized that they had given me very generic advice that was not suited to me, because none of them had asked me in detail about things like why I wanted to attend a business school, what was my motive behind it, what were my interest areas, my strengths, weaknesses, past experience, etc. In fact, later I realized that I didn't even want to go to a business school at that time and wanted to explore a lot more. So the point is that people may give you some super quick advice, but it won't be custom tailored for you. So in such situations, just say,
I ignored your advice.
Well, don't actually say it out loud, but yes, think it in your head. Number 2.
You said number 2.
People are inherently biased towards the decisions they took for themselves and usually advise the same. I remember after I quit my first job at 21, I was confused about whether to continue working for startups or explore my other passion areas. I traveled all the way to another city to meet a couple of people in their 40s with big titles and working for big companies. One of them told me about his personal story of how he too wanted to work on his passion area when he was young, but he couldn't for some reason and he regretted it at that time. But now, he felt okay about it. So he told me to continue working for startups for now because I was in a good place, I was really young, and I had a lot of years ahead of me. It is at that time when I realized that it was more him justifying his own decisions rather than genuinely thinking what's right for me.
Come on, it's just not right.
Understand that it's very natural for all of us to justify and advocate for our own life decisions. So look out for this blind spot when people are strongly advocating for something they did themselves. Number 3. Giving advice makes people feel good about themselves and it feeds their ego. That's the harsh truth, I'm afraid. And so because of this, while giving advice, many people try to seem way more convinced and confident about what they are saying than they actually are.
I am completely confident in the rightness of my actions.
And this is a tricky one because seeing their confidence levels may even convince you sometimes and you may fall in the trap. So look out for this blind spot the next time and don't let only the other person's confidence overpower your thoughts. Number 4. Your closest people in your life, like your parents or your best friends, are not always the best advisors. We as humans tend to believe in people who we are close to and who we know care about us. But when we take advice from them, we are sometimes biased towards accepting their advice because we trust them and not necessarily because the advice is great. So make sure to also speak to people beyond your closest ones to get more perspective. And the last one, similar to the fourth one, this blind spot kicks in when taking advice from people with a big status. It's easy to get intimidated by people with a big status, and it's easy to believe their advice no matter how flawed it may be. The example I gave before when I traveled all the way to another city to meet a couple of guys in their 40s falls in this category. One of the main reasons why I made all that effort to meet them in the first place was because of their high status. You see, I was already biased towards them for good advice.
You're too biased.
But just because someone has more experience or is more successful does not mean their advice is great. So don't be biased because of someone's status. So well, these were the top 5 blind spots that I have identified with time and hope you could relate to them. I'm posting a quick summary here in case you want to revisit them in the future. Remember that most people mean well while giving advice, but you need to be smart enough to filter out the ones that don't help you. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you continue to watch the other videos as well. But before you do that, make sure to hit the subscribe button at the bottom so that you don't miss out on any of the future videos. Hit the like button to show your support and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Peace!